Well, welcome. This is the Messiah Revelation channel. Today we are looking at reparative justice. Is it enough, or should we look for God's own justice? We are talking about the UN resolution that was passed in March 2026, a resolution moved by Ghana, and that resolution was passed by the United Nations. For the first time, the transatlantic slave trade and slavery is recognized as a crime against humanity and the greatest crime against humanity. And supporters of the resolution believe that it is good, at least it will promote reparative justice. Is it enough? My conclusion is that the Lord will judge the world and his judgment will come, and the reparative justice that we are talking about in the world is not enough. What is enough is the judgment of God that is coming. You can get reparation in billions of dollars, but it is the Lord that will repair you. The Lord will do the reparation, and the Lord will bring the judgment. And as we talk about the judgment that God will bring in the world, we look to Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And the Lord is talking about reparatory judgment, reparative judgment. The Lord told Abraham that his people would be sojourners in a nation that is not theirs, and they will be there for 400 years. And after that, the Lord will judge that nation. It's an end time judgment that is coming. I'll call it Genesis 15, verse 14 judgment. And it is the judgment that the Lord will meet to those who afflicted his people. And I believe that it applies to the children of God who were taken captive to all the four corners of the earth after the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. And as we are pondering about reparation, as we are talking about the UN resolution passed in March 2026, we will go over some few questions. I will do a prophetic video on the reparation, but this time I'm just giving some observations about the resolution, the UN resolution supported by Ghana or moved by Ghana, and that was passed in March 2026 at the United Nations, proclaiming that the transatlantic slave trade and slavery constitutes the greatest crime against humanity. And so we are going through some questions. One, the transatlantic slave trade and slavery, are they crimes against humanity? It's a multiple choice question. Yes. And I believe that yes, is a crime against humanity. Both the transatlantic slave trade and slavery in general is a crime against humanity. And the slave trade continued and for a long time, and slavery also continued for a long time, even after slavery had been abolished, so-called abolished. So it's a crime. The transatlantic slave trade is a crime against humanity. Is it the greatest crime against humanity? Um, that is debatable. Some people believe that the Jewish genocide in Germany is the greatest crime against humanity. And the United Nations has said that the transatlantic slave trade and slavery constitute the greatest crime against humanity. If you do maths, figures, 6 million people supposedly perished during the Jewish genocide. How many people perished in the Atlantic Ocean on the coast of Africa? How many of them perished on slave plantations in Jamaica, in United States, and in other parts of the Caribbean? The numbers are more than 6 million. And there's no question that the transatlantic slave trade and slavery are the greatest crime against humanity in history, way past the genocide of the Jews that happened in Germany not long ago. The voting pattern, we are focusing on the voting pattern. 123 nations supported the resolution that the transatlantic slave trade and slavery constitute the greatest crime against humanity, and 3 nations opposed it. They voted against it, and 52 nations abstained. 123 nations, including Ghana, voted for the resolution to pass. So you can see it is overwhelming, and 3 nations voted against. And so let's go over the 3 nations that voted against the resolution. The nations United States, Israel, and Argentina. They voted against the resolution, and 52 nations abstained. They voted with their silence. They were quiet. They wouldn't talk. And their silence means concern. Their silence express a guilty conscience. Mostly the European nations that were instrumental in the transatlantic slave trade, committing the greatest crime against humanity in history. 52 nations, mostly European nations and Scandinavian nations. The United States, why did the US vote against the resolution? Against why did the US vote against the resolution? There are some arguments. I don't know whether I'll call it moral argument or ethics issue. Can you put crimes in a hierarchy? The United States official position is that you cannot put crimes in a hierarchy, and so you cannot say that the transatlantic slave trade is the greatest crime against humanity. There are so many crimes, and what methodology are you using to put the transatlantic slave trade at the top, the hierarchy of crimes? I don't know whether it is a methodological issue, a moral issue, or ethical issue, or legal issue, but the argument is porous and the argument is non-convincing. There are so many rankings and hierarchies. I read a book even where the author ranked the most influential person, Mark Hart, the 100 most influential persons in the world. American companies are ranked. World military powers are ranked in terms of who is the top and who is at the bottom. Of course, Americans will be proud to hear that they are ranked number one. I don't know what methodology is used to rank them. So hierarchy of crimes. The American argument, you cannot consider the transatlantic slave trade or slavery as the greatest crime against humanity because you cannot or you should not rank crimes. Is that okay? And let's look at Sodom and Gomorrah. Uh, the There were murders in Sodom and Gomorrah. I believe there were armed robbers. There were people in adulterous relationship. And the Lord ranked a sin as the top. And that sin is the sin of homosexuality. And no nation in the world has ever been destroyed with fire and brimstone except Sodom and Gomorrah. Destroyed because of the sin of homosexuality. And I believe that the Lord did a ranking and in his divine wisdom considered the sin of Sodom and the sin of homosexuality in Sodom and Gomorrah as the greatest sin for which the Lord would destroy the nations with brimstone and fire. The hierarchy of crime. American scholars do their ranking. Abraham Maslow even did a ranking on the needs of people, hierarchy of needs, and it's very popular in management schools all over the world. The hierarchy of needs. He tried to put people's needs in a hierarchy from the basis to the top. Esteem needs, self-actualization needs, physiological needs. He ranked them. And so crimes can be ranked. And I don't think the United Nations did anything wrong by ranking transatlantic slave trade and slavery as the greatest crime against humanity. They look at history and they look at the impact and they look at economics, they look at political consequences, they look at the morality of the crime, and they concluded, and I think they did the right thing. They came to the right conclusion that the transatlantic slave trade is the greatest crime against humanity. Slavery that ensued as a result of that infamous trade is a crime against humanity and the greatest of all the crimes against humanity. And the second argument the United States used is that at the time that the crime was committed, slave trade was not illegal. They are using a legal argument. As when a practice is not illegal, later on you cannot punish anybody who engaged in that crime because it was not illegal at the time that it was committed. And so, if you are punishing America for their involvement in the transatlantic slave trade, you using retroactive method. You are violating the legal norms because you cannot pass a law that has a retroactive effect. It's a human doctrine. At the time that the Atlantic slave trade occurred, was slavery or slave trade illegal? If it was illegal from the perspective of the Europe. It was illegal from the perspective of those who connived, the slave masters and the slave owners who engaged in that atrocities. And so they cannot justify the transatlantic slave trade just by saying that it was not illegal at the time that it took place. It was not illegal for people to be thrown into the ocean. It was not illegal for men to rape men in dungeons in Africa. It was not illegal to steal the artifacts of people in Africa. And that is the argument that they are using. And I think it's a flawed argument. It's a frivolous argument. The second nation that voted against the resolution is Israel. And I cannot go into the head of the Israeli government why they voted against the resolution. But I believe that there are political reasons and there are diplomatic reasons. And there is also a feeling of guilt. For a long time, Israel has been condemned because of policies on Gaza, policy regarding the Palestinians. And in America, there were demonstrations, and also in other parts of the world. And the demonstrations equated Zionism with racism. There were also demonstrations that also compared Israeli treatment of Palestinians with apartheid in South Africa. And so both Israel and South Africa, during the time of apartheid, they became pariah states in the world, and they became target of demonstrations all over the world. Diplomatically, Israel and apartheid South Africa work hand in hand. Israel gave diplomatic support to apartheid South Africa, and apartheid South Africa also gave diplomatic support to Israel at international organizations, international forums. Israel and America are working hand in hand. And if you look at UN resolutions and the history of UN resolutions, most resolutions that are anti-Israel are vetoed by United Nations, are vetoed by the United States. And the US has supported Israel diplomatically and leading the United Nations in upholding the things that Israel does, and also leading the world in opposing resolutions and that are detrimental to Israel. So it's it is a quid pro quo between America and Israel. We will support you, and we have supported you diplomatically when the nations at the UN go against you, Israel, and you also have to support us. And it is not surprising that both US and Israel voted against the resolution that was moved by Ghana at that time. There was a time not long ago, the Israeli consul in Atlanta in the United States made a statement, and the statement is that Israel's biggest fear is young black Americans. Israel is a nuclear state, has a lot of weapons. Why would Israel be afraid of black American young men in America? It's because of the awareness that is going on, awareness about blacks, that they are the children of Jacob, and they who were from Africa via the transatlantic slave trade, the children of Jacob. The Hebrews scattered over the world, and that is not a good news for Israel, that has projected herself as Israel, spoken of in the Bible. Israel guarded by God through the Balfour Declaration. And Israel is not comfortable about the so-called Black Lives Matters movement going on in America and over the world. And Israel is not comfortable about a resolution and claiming that the transatlantic slave trade is the greatest crime against humanity, when for all the years Israel has projected the image that they are victims of a genocide, and that genocide is the greatest crime against humanity. The genocide where 6 million Jews um, were massacred. Even if the 6 million people, the number is accurate, it is not comparable to the millions of people who passed through the transatlantic slave trade, and those um, who were thrown into the sea. The famous case happened in 1883, I believe, involving a British ship from Ghana moving towards Jamaica, where African men and women and children, they were cast into the ocean. The Atlantic Ocean became the grave for black men and black women over the world. No doubt, the transatlantic slave trade and the slavery is greater as a crime against humanity compared to the Holocaust that happened in Germany. The black people have a bigger Holocaust and a more horrendous Holocaust, and a Holocaust that spanned so many years, hundreds of years, leaving economic, political, and moral repercussions to the black people, and subjecting black people over the world to the lowest rank and to the lowest rank on the ladder of acceptability and the ladder of recognition, the ladder of opportunity, and the ladder of respect. And so the transatlantic slave trade definitely is a crime against humanity and is the greatest crime against humanity, and it was rightly passed by 123 nations, even though it was rejected by America, Israel, and Argentina. As we're talking about Argentina, Argentina is known for erasing black history from Argentina, and policies were taken to make black people become extinct in Argentina. When blacks were integrated to some extent in the Brazilian society, that was not the case in Argentina. And many people even wonder that For a long time, you don't see black people in Argentina soccer team. Is this a sign of Argentina's hostility towards people who are of color? And so it's not surprising that Argentina, given her history of anti-black and black racism, will not support a resolution that will consider the transatlantic slave trade and slavery as the greatest crime against humanity. The Lord The Lord will judge all sins, including the sin committed during the transatlantic slave trade. We are calling it a crime against humanity, but the Lord calls it sin. If you steal somebody's property, you have coveted that property. And you can covet somebody's wife, you can covet somebody's husband. A lot of wives and husbands were coveted by slave masters on slave plantations. And even when slavery had been abolished, black people were subjugated in America. And we remember the infamous Tuskegee syphilis experiment that happened at the Tuskegee Institute from 1932 to 30 years interval for a long time, 1930s to the 1970s, I believe. Tuskegee experiment spanned for a period of 40 years, and blacks were used in experiment, fake experiments. They were told that they had syphilis and they needed to be treated. Lo and behold, they were being used as guinea pigs in syphilis experiments, and many people died as a result. It took place, I believe, from 1932, 40 years. It continued. In 1997, President Clinton officially apologized on behalf of American government for the treatment that was given to black men who were infected with syphilis, so that they would die and their dead bodies would be used in experiment. I don't know whether it is a crime. I don't know whether it is a sin, but it is murder, and murder is a crime, and murder is sin at the same time. Today, the United Nations has spoken, and the word is that the transatlantic slave trade and slavery, they were crimes against humanity, and they are the greatest crime against humanity. And reparations will come, but I'm not talking about reparations, because when we're talking about reparative justice, the Lord is going to bring his justice. Genesis 15, verse 14, the Lord will judge the nations. We're talking about the Atlantic nations, the nations that sold people into slavery, and the nations that met in Berlin, 1884 to 1885, to covet people's land and make it their own. And justice will come, and the Lord is going to repair the damages. And for those of you who have not listened to this channel, by revelation through a vision, several of them, the nation that will be the richest nation in the world in the end times will be a black nation located in West Africa. I've made that revelation, and the Lord is about to elevate people The first will be last and the last will be first, and that will be God's reparative justice. We should not focus on reparation that human beings will promise, but they will not give. We will rely, and we should rely on God's own reparation. We should prepare for the kingdom that is coming. It means that we have to repent of our sins and accept the salvation that the Lord is coming. Reparation is not sufficient. It is not enough. It is too late. The head of the chief in Ghana that was taken to Europe, the chief, when his head was taken to Europe, the people who were taken on ships and who died in the ocean, and the ocean became their grave. The humiliation that happened on the plantation farms in America and in the Caribbean, and reparation cannot restore that. No reparation will be enough. The 1.1 billion euros requested by Namibia is not enough. About 100 years ago, the Germans that controlled Namibia, they committed genocide. They killed a lot of the tribesmen of the Herero people. And now the Namibians are requesting that the German pay reparation, and they are asking for a very small amount, 1.1 billion euros. It is not enough. The life of a human being cannot be valued in euros. It cannot be valued in yen. It cannot be valued in dollars, because human beings are they cannot be bought. They cannot be valued in any money, and they cannot be valued in any currency. And it's the Lord that will do the justice, and he will do the reparation. His judgment is coming, and you will see the judgment coming, and to the nations that coveted other people's resources, coveted other people's ideas, and murdered other people, and they are now ashamed. And so they spoke with their silence. 54 nations abstained. But there are certain nations that are not, they are not shameful. They are very arrogant, they are very proud, and they voted against the resolution. America, Israel, and Argentina. I will do a prophetic video on the resolution, and I will encourage everybody that we should wait for the reparation that the Lord is coming with. He's bringing his reward for everybody according to their work. Revelation 22 verse 12. And that is the time when your work and will be rewarded. You will not you will not waste your time when you put your trust on God. You will be under curse when you put your trust in men. Even the nations that control the United Nations, when they promise to give you reparation, their word should not be trusted, because they should not be trusted at all. They are human beings, and you cannot trust on a human being. You cannot trust in the president. You cannot put your trust in a human being, whether he's a president, whether he's a prime minister, even whether he's a pope. This is Messiah Revelation Ministry. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for sharing this video. Thank you very much.